At 73, I finally understand why most marriages turn cold. You know something painful I learned far too late? Most marriages don't fall apart because of one big betrayal. They turn cold quietly, slowly, over years. Not because two people stop loving each other, but because they stop noticing each other. I'm 73 now, and when I look back at my own marriage, I can honestly say there were years when my wife and I lived in the same house, slept in the same bed, ate at the same table, but emotionally we were miles apart. And the worst part, I didn't even realize it was happening until it almost cost me everything. When I was younger, I thought being a good husband meant working hard. That was my definition of love. Pay the bills, fix the leaking sink, keep food on the table, stay loyal, come home every night. In my mind, that made me a solid man. And to be fair, I did work hard. I spent most of my life exhausted. I'd wake up early, come home late, sit in my chair, eat dinner, watch television, and fall asleep halfway through the evening news, day after day, year after year. And my wife, God bless her, she never complained much, at least not in the beginning. She'd ask me how my day was. I'd say, fine. Then I'd ask about dinner. That was our conversation. Can you imagine that? Two people married for decades, talking like co-workers in a waiting room. But when you're young, you don't notice these things. Life feels busy. Children need attention. Money needs earning. There's always a problem to solve. And little by little, the marriage starts surviving instead of living. I remember one night very clearly. My wife was sitting beside me on the couch, same couch we'd shared for over 20 years, and she said something so quietly I almost missed it. She said, "Peter, I miss you." Now here's the strange thing. I was sitting right beside her, but she wasn't talking about my body. She was talking about me, my attention, my warmth, my presence. That sentence stayed with me for years, because deep down, I knew she was right. The real turning point came later. Our children had moved out by then. The house became quiet, too quiet, and suddenly there was nowhere left to hide. No school runs, no family chaos, no distraction. Just two people sitting across from each other wondering, who are we now? One evening we went out for dinner, and I noticed something uncomfortable. We had nothing to say, not because we hated each other, because we had stopped sharing our inner lives years earlier. We knew schedules, we knew responsibilities, but we no longer knew each other deeply. And I remember looking around that restaurant and seeing older couples sitting in silence. Some looked peaceful, others looked lonely. There's a difference. Silence can be comfortable when love is alive, but when warmth disappears, silence feels heavy. That night, driving home, I felt afraid. For the first time in my life, I realized love does not stay alive automatically. Marriage is not a machine you build once and leave alone. It's more like a garden. Ignore it long enough, weeds take over, not overnight. Slowly, quietly. That's how most marriages turn cold. Not with screaming, not with drama, with neglect, with assumptions, with years of emotional postponement. We'll talk later, we'll spend time later, we'll reconnect later, and then one day you look at the person beside you and realize later never came. That realization broke my heart, but it also woke me up. Here's what I finally understand at 73. Most people think love dies because feelings disappear. That's not usually true. Love dies from lack of attention. Small moments matter more than grand gestures. In the beginning of relationships, people notice everything: the way you laugh, the way you tell stories, the way your eyes look when you're tired. You listen carefully, you ask questions, you care about little details. But after enough years together, many couples become emotionally lazy. And I say that with kindness, because I was emotionally lazy too. We assume our partner already knows we love them, so we stop saying it, we stop showing curiosity, we stop trying, and people become invisible inside their own marriage. That's a painful thing, especially for older couples. You can survive without romance, you can survive without excitement, but it's very hard to survive feeling unseen. I think many husbands make the same mistake I made. We believe responsibility equals emotional connection. We think, I stayed, I worked hard, I provided. And yes, those things matter. They matter a lot. But emotional closeness needs more than loyalty. It needs attention, presence, tenderness, and time. I remember there were evenings my wife tried to talk to me, and I barely looked up from the television. Not because I didn't love her, because I was mentally somewhere else. And after enough years of that, people stop trying to reach you. That's the dangerous part. When complaints disappear, many people think things are improving. Sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes silence means resignation. Another thing I learned is this: resentment grows in tiny layers. Very rarely does a marriage become cold from one giant event. It's usually hundreds of little moments. Not listening, not apologizing, not appreciating, not touching, not asking questions, not making time. Tiny emotional withdrawals over decades. And eventually, the account becomes empty. You know something else? Pride ruins intimacy, especially for older men. Many of us were raised to believe emotions make us weak. So instead of saying, I miss you, I feel lonely, I need you, we stay quiet, we become hard, and hardness creates distance. I wasted years pretending I was fine when I wasn't. My wife wasn't asking for perfection, she just wanted connection. Most people do. Not perfection, connection. And here's another truth nobody talks about enough: people change over time. The person you marry at 25 will not be the same at 45 or 70. And if you stop learning your partner as they grow, eventually you become strangers with shared history. That's why curiosity matters in marriage. You must keep discovering each other, keep asking questions, keep paying attention. Because love is not maintained by memory, it's maintained by participation. I learnt that very late, but thank God, not too late. So if you're listening to me right now and you feel distance growing in your marriage, here are a few things I wish someone had told me earlier. First, put the phone down when your partner speaks. That small act alone changes the feeling in a room. Nothing makes a person feel unimportant faster than divided attention. Second, ask real questions again. Not just, what do you want for dinner? Ask, how have you been feeling lately? What's been on your mind? What are you worried about these days? People are starving for genuine conversation, especially inside long marriages. Third, bring back small affection. Touch their hand, sit closer, give a longer hug. Not every act of love needs to be dramatic. Warmth lives in small things. Fourth, stop waiting for the perfect moment to reconnect. There is no perfect moment. Life stays busy forever. You must choose each other deliberately, even for 10 minutes a day. And here's an important one: learn to apologize faster. Pride can steal years from a marriage. I know men my age who haven't said I'm sorry properly in decades. Imagine that. Two stubborn people protecting their ego while their relationship slowly freezes. Don't do that. You know what matters more than winning arguments? Protecting closeness. And finally, tell people you love them while they can still hear it. One day, one of you will leave first. That's life. And when that day comes, you will not care about who was right in 1997. You'll care about the tenderness you shared, the kindness, the laughter, the moments you were fully present. That's what remains. At 73, I don't think a successful marriage means never struggling. Every long marriage struggles. Every single one. I think success is when two imperfect people keep reaching back toward each other, even after disappointment, even after distance, even after hard years. That's love, not perfection. Persistence, gentle persistence. You know, sometimes I sit quietly now and think about how fast life moved. One minute we were young parents chasing children around the house. The next minute the house was silent. And all those ordinary little evenings I barely noticed, those became the memories. That's why I'm making these videos. Not because I have all the answers. I don't. I've made mistakes, many mistakes. But if my regrets can help someone else hold their marriage together, or help one person feel less alone, then maybe those mistakes still have value. So tonight, before you go to sleep, turn toward the person beside you. Put your hand on theirs. Ask them how they're really doing. And this time, listen carefully, because love rarely disappears all at once. But sometimes, warmth can return the very same way, quietly, slowly, one small moment at a time. If this video spoke to your heart, I'd be honored if you subscribed and joined me again next time. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. I'll see you in the next one.